just going to be a video on just a slight overview on these front fenders that I got, front fender armor. As I mentioned in my Aries Fab rear armor video that I bought some stuff for the front. I decided to go with DirtBound Off-Road this time, besides Aries Fab, because I could get these with the fenders already welded on them. Aries Fab has some. They have flares already welded on, or at least you can get flares for them, but they don't make any for the rear flares. And I already bought a rear flare to weld onto the Aries Fab, and I got it from DirtBound. So these flares that are welded on this armor match the flare that I bought to weld onto the rear. So I'd rather have matching flares on the front and the rear, even if the armor is different. But again, these actually come the way I like it. It actually has nuts and bolts, so it doesn't have riv nuts or weld nuts or nut certs, which is good. This one I wouldn't be as worried about having nut certed, but I'd rather have it nut and bolted anyway, because it is steel, and you'd have to have a pretty big nut cert for me to even feel comfortable. But yeah, this is just a flat plate. This isn't bent in any way, shape, or form. So that's kind of a downside of getting these and not getting the Aries Fab, because it's not conformed to the body. So when you actually bolt this down, the body is actually going to slightly bend to match the flat plate. But yeah, I like it. Flares welded good. Spaced out the welds. I'd kind of like to see it fully welded, but I can understand it doesn't need it really. But I might put some kind of sealant on it or something, because I don't want to have. Actually, the bed liner I'm putting on there should cover it, because I don't want any water coming down and leaking behind this and then causing issues down below. This fender opening is just about the same size as what I've already cut. It goes a little bit farther back here, a little farther forward here. Where I've cut on my Jeep, I followed the body line. There used to be a body line that jutted out. It went down and had holes in it for the flare to mount to, the factory flare. I just followed that whole piece all the way over and down. So this flare actually opens this piece up more. So, and the flares, or the fender is going to stop right here, the armor. So I'm going to have to take that cut and cut it farther down. And up in the front, I think it goes roughly to where my bumper is. So I'll have to cut that too. But yeah. But yeah, this is just a little video looking at the armor, just a little overview of it. I should have, I don't know, I may install these next week, may not. There's a bunch of prep I'm going to have to do on those rear fenders, because I got to mount the Aries Fab rear fenders on, and then I have to take the DIY flare that I bought from them and then start tacking that on and start bending it. And then I will have to add a leg on the front near the door, the rear door, on the rear flare to get it to, weld, because the rear flare stops like right here, but it needs to go farther down for the flare to mount to. Anyway, that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.